is that it does take a while to get the book into a script, both creatively and, in certain circumstances, financially. And how do we make the happy medium between those two fit? And Randy brought up a point last night, a quote from Lois Lowry, who's the author of The Giver. And she said, "An adaptation of one of my books does not need to be literal. I just hope it's a faithful adaptation." And that's, of course, what we try to do. As Walden, we've done adaptations of Charlotte's Web, Nim's Island, the 3 Narnia books, Journey to the Center of the Earth, and Because of Winn-Dixie. So we try to take those stories, those beloved stories that everybody knows, and put them on the screen. And some are a little more difficult than others. Certainly the Narnia books, which are the most well-read of the material that we've done, and people have their heart sunk into those books the most. So we do get a lot of calls about the emblem on the shield wasn't quite right, or in this case, the dragon doesn't look exactly how I thought it was going to look. And that's the beauty of reading, is you imagine what the dragon looks like. You imagine what all these things look like. And all we're doing is giving our interpretation of that and putting it on the screen. It's a great little story from production that I shared with Lyman, and he thought would be fun to share. We have a webmaster. He runs, and I need the details here. He runs NarniaFans.com. And the first date he took with his eventual fiance was to see Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And a big fan of Narnia books. So Paul ended up paying for himself to fly all the way to Australia, where we were in production on the 3rd movie, Voyage of the Dawn Treader, and had contacted one of our producers, Douglas Gresham, who is a member of the Lewis family, and talked to him about that he was going to be bringing his fiance. Well, they showed up on set one day as he was there writing some for his blog for the day. Doug saw him, invited them inside the velvet ropes, if you will, onto the set, and Paul proposed marriage to his then fiance on the deck of the boat on the Gold Coast in Australia. It was a very magical moment for them, and it was a special moment for us as well, that something that we do touches people's lives outside of, it's hard for us to tell because there's 40 of us in Los Angeles and I think 10 in Boston with Randy, and it's really hard for us to know what kind of effect we have on the public in general with the movies that we create. So it was a nice little moment for everybody involved with the making of the picture. Now, that all being said, I'm going to get into a little bit of technical mumbo jumbo, as I call it, but what we're going to see next, and we're not quite ready, Gene, I'm going to talk a little bit, but we're going to see one of the end sequences of the movie when Prince Caspian, Lucy, Eustace, Edmund, Reepicheep are walking toward what they think is Aslan's country. And what I'm about to show you is the finished 2D version of that sequence. And then we're going to slip in what we actually shot. So what we actually captured while we were in Australia on camera. And then we're going to take that to seeing some of the visual effects laid on top of it, seeing some of the layering happen, see how they do some of the modeling, and to the finished 2D shot. And then as I see they're passing out the 3D glasses, we're going to pause there. And then we're going to see that same sequence in 3D. So some of the things to look out for, and don't mind me with my notes. The first thing that we do, and that you'll see, is what's called a plate shot. And that's the